Hey guys, it is now Sunday. It's the day after my 2-day market. Um, how do I even go off and say this? This market is always like there are busy times, there are slow times. So, you know, you never know what this market's gonna bring, and which is why I like doing it. So, I filled up this page, this page, and almost a full page of this. So, which is a lot of sales and a lot of different things. As you can tell, I am still in some lounging clothes today. I'm so tired. I'm so tired. It was a great day. Don't get me wrong. It was a great weekend. But I am tired. I'm so tired. So my dad came with me, and then my mom was with me. My dad does not know, like, about my YouTube and all of that. So I did get some clips of setup of day 1, and then setup of day 2. Which I always bring more inventory than I actually put out. Because I never know what's gonna sell. And this year, wow. Like, I sold so many one-off things that I didn't expect to sell. Alright, so the start of the day, this market did not start until 11. I think I got myself between 10 and 11 at some point. Because people do start coming and walk around between 9:30 and 10. People start slowly coming in, they're looking around. I have a few vendors that purchased from me directly, and they came and looked at my booth. The cake lady came and looked at my booth, so super excited about that. And then what else? I had another vendor said she was gonna come look, but I don't ever think she got a chance to come and look. There was another main crocheter on Friday that did the amigurumi plushies. There was a crocheter that did strictly like hats and stuff like that. Then Saturday comes around. There's a lady outside that does the crochet plushies. So this time there was 3 main ones. Now there was one that had a little section of it, but she's always there. She has the pins and stuff. I don't know if she actually puts that in there or not, that she does that, because you're supposed to put what you put in. I always request to be by the wall inside. So I've been on 3 different walls since doing the 2-day events. Yeah. So last year, at the December one, me and my husband, and the October one, we were over on when you walk into the room, it's the right side wall. We were on that wall. And we were right by the door. Well, then this time, the next time we were on the left side, on that wall by the door. Which, that's the door that leads outside. Then this time, I was up on the front wall when people came in if they came this way, they saw me first. But if they had already done looped around and come around, I was one of their last stops. Which, in this room, I really don't know if there's a good place. I would assume in the middle you might could do well. I do know that the other lady did not sell as much as I did. I did see some people walking around with some of her stuff. But, like, I don't know if she actually had a lot of plushies that were 20 and under. I have a good range of stuff that is 20 and under, because 20 is about the limit a parent can spend. So I have 5, 8, 10, 12, 15, and 20, 18 and $20 items. So I have 7 different ranges of pricing. So, but overall, it was a great market. I did better than I did last year. And I'm getting used to, like, trying to vlog in public. I didn't go around and walk around this time. Just, I don't know, the vibe was off doing that. So, but let's talk about some things I specifically made for this market. I made 3 cows specifically for this market. I made Pokemon in the smaller sizes specifically for this market. I made princesses, capybaras, dinos, what else? More turtles. I made a good range of the Lubbies. I made one of my spiders, snakes, gators, ducks, bigger dinos, mini kittens, ghosts, whales, dolphins, that kind of stuff. So, I made several different new things. Oh, and a raccoon. A bigger, like, it's not my jumbo raccoon, but it's a size smaller than it. So, if y'all don't make Gordon the Gator, then you are wrong. It doesn't matter. I think last year I sold one for 30. I made it in Sweet Snuggles Light. I used hand paint and safety eyes. I sold it for 30. Well, I told myself this year that if I did the hand painted eyes, I was gonna upcharge for them. But then this year I just didn't do that. I just didn't even bother putting in hand painted safety eyes. I just did regular eyes. So I was like, I'm gonna charge 30 for both of those. I sold both of those. Every time I take Gordon Gator to a market, he sells for me. Now, mind you, I've only sold 3 of them, but when you make them specifically to take with you to a market, I sell them all day long. Hook Crochet Co. I made her gator. Sold it. Sold several of them. And I was like, so gators were hopping. Now with Gordon, do I add the details to the back? No. Because my the Hook Crochet Co. one, that gator that I make, it doesn't have anything on the back. So none of my gators or crocodiles, none of them have anything on the back. It's a cohesive look across the boot. So with that being said, make gators. Make them in all sizes, because you never know which ones are going to sell. But I'll tell you, I sell Gordon for $30. So Stacy, that is one pattern that is a hit at one of my markets down here in the South. Alright, so let's get into these sales. Okay, so my first sale of the day was a dragon, and that was by Beckmade Studios. I charged $22 for it. The guy come in, I didn't think this guy was going to buy it. He didn't have any kids. He didn't look like he had any kids. He come in, he was looking around. He looked, he said, "You got any dragons?" I said, "I got one right there on the shelf." He said, "Alright, here, I'll take it." He said, "It's $22. If there's a car fee, there's a fee." Okay. Didn't say nothing. So, then my next sale was a cow. And this cow's a little special because it was my cow. I am working on a cow pattern, and I've also got a bear pattern I need to put out to my testers. I do apologize. I'm not sure how I'm going to do tester calls from here on out. But I do apologize, and you will get your copy of the bear if you tested it. I will ask for emails, and you will get it. There's just some editing of pictures and stuff, trying to change up some of the styling on my patterns, make them more me, not like everybody else. So, you know, every pattern designer has their own way of how their patterns look, and I think mine needs an upgrade before I start sending out my patterns that I have tested. Tina really needs an upgrade on her look as well, but we shall see. But anyways, this little girl, her parents are a food vendor. So she come and got my cow. Like, she come and asked me how much it was. She went and talked Dad into coming in and got the cow. Then I had this grandma come in with 2 teenagers. And y'all, I thought I almost sold my hammerhead shark. Oh, I was so sad that it did not sell. But I made a mouse snuggler. She turned around, she looked. She said, "Wait." And so, like, I hadn't put anything in square or anything yet. And she's like, "I think I want this more." And Grandma was like, "You better decide before she puts it in." She's like, "I think I'm gonna get this." I said, "Okay." So, which was okay because the snuggler was more, but it was just funny. That's why I tell y'all, snugglers are not just meant for little ones. Just know that. And then the other girl that was with her got the ladybug. So that was a $55 transaction. Alright. And then Snow White, one of the princesses I had made, sold it. So the little girl came in and she looked at it. Mom was like, "Well, let's go look around first. You start deciding what you want, and then we can come back." And most of the time when they say they're going to come back, most of them don't. Oh, she came back. But I liked this when I saw it. She had also gotten a rabbit from the other crochet vendor. So the fact that she came back and got Snow White too, like, that mama was okay with spending some money. Then the next thing I saw was this little boy. He has come to my booth a couple of times throughout this times that I've been there. And he wanted something small. And I said, well, and he was talking about Pikachu and some of the other things I had. And I said, well, you know, I have a small Pikachu. And he went over there and he looked at it and he said, "That's what I want." Mom was like, "Okay, here you go." The next little thing was one of my little mini ghosts. I sold only one out of 4 of those, so I was a little disappointed in those. But those were $8 things, so it's near here nor there. Next thing I sold was my dead possum, which is funny because this boy had come in earlier and looked at it, and he didn't get it. So a couple minutes later, this other couple came in and got the possum. And so then I had this grandma come in, and she was like, "Do you have any big dragons?" And I said, "I don't have any more big dragons." She was like, "Dang." I was like, "Okay, well, what colors does he like?" "Green and blue." I said, "Okay." Showed her my Gordon the Gators, and I showed her my laying down Bronto that I had made. It's long like a dragon, so I thought, that's an option I can give her. So she had her husband hold him up, and she ended up getting Gordon, which I made in a green variegated. It's a mossy color, which was super glad. Then I had to go run to the restroom. She came back, and my dad was like, "All I can do is cats." And she was like, "Well, does she have any cats?" He was like, "I think she's got one on the bottom shelf." So I didn't put out my 2 bigger loaf cats. I don't know what I'm going to do with that. Just because I didn't have room for them, and I had other stuff that I wanted to sell. So those were not on the top of the list. But she came back and bought 20 because she was like, "I can't go home with one and not one for the other." So then the next thing was a turtle, and I had made some jumbo turtles on Live with Kat, and this lady was like, "I would have to take the eyes out." And I said, "Well, I have one that I didn't put eyes in." And she was like, "Really?" I was like, "Yeah." So I went over there and I showed her the one I didn't have eyes in. And I said, sometimes there's 2 baby safe options. There's one with no eyes, and then there's one where you can do the embroidered eyes. I said, this one I just left it plain because I didn't see the need in trying to make eyes for these. And she was like, "Well, I'll take it." So that one sold. But then a little while later, another turtle sold. And so that turtle was a big seller. So after that turtle with no eyes sold, I had a mystery bag sell for $10. And then I had a baby squid sell for $8. She was a returning customer. Then here's the back-to-back turtles. They were both $15. I had 2 $15 dollar turtles, which was the one I made on Live, and I made ties to sea turtle and Hobby Lobby yarn, and I charged those for $15. I had 2 of those. Both of those sold. But one was one and one was the other. Then I sold another mystery bag for $10. Then I sold a capybara for $15. I had 3 capybaras with me. I sold all 3. Then I sold a mystery bag for $15. Then I sold a frog for $8. These are the new little leggy. No, this was a Mum's Jetty frog. Then those dinos I made while Kat was down here. I made 3. I sold 2 out of 3. So 2 little girls were the ones that bought them. One little girl wanted both of the pink and the dot yarn and the purple, and they were like, "No, you get one." And she picked the purple one first, and I was like, yes, because the purple one was the first one I had made, so I liked it. So I charged $22 for it, sold it, no questions asked on that price, so that means that's a good price for those. Then another octo at $8. I made 2 squirrels for this market. I sold both of them. There was a group of girls and they were trying to decide what they wanted. And they only had so much money to spend. So that's what they did. She got the squirrel and a duck. So I made 5 with my $8 ducks. All of those sold out. So that's a seller for me. Then I sold another. No, this was the first cat I sold, and it was my rainbow looking cat that I made in the Premier Basics variegated. I also sold a chicken for $15. I sold a gator for $12, and I sold my last possum for $15. I sold my ghost for $15. I sold another turtle for $15. That was the last transaction for day 1. So for a Friday event, that was $474. That's pretty good at this market. So now, let's get into day 2. So to start us off, this grandma that was, and this old man that was over here come and said that, she's getting a new grandbaby. He'll be born in December, and she was looking at all kinds of things. She's like, I know I'm going to come back for this. So I said, well, I have a few other things. And so I went down and I showed her my octos. That's my octo pattern. And I showed her what I had made. And she was like, no, this is it. I'm going to go ahead and buy it. If you'll take it back there, I will be right back over with your money. So she came back over and got my octo for $15. Perry the Platypus sold for $20. I had a lady come in. She didn't look happy, but she didn't look mad. She looked one of those like meh faces. I said, I think you have any questions? Are you looking for something? And she was like, do you have any sloths? I said, I have one for $18. She says, I'll take it. Okay. Then the next thing was so funny. A little while later, this dad and this teenage girl comes back. Because they were there yesterday. And they came back today. And she was like trying to decide what frog she wanted. But since she couldn't decide really what frog she wanted, Dad grabbed all 4 of them and bought all 4 of my frogs. So that was $48. Then Squirtle sold for $20. I should have had another Pikachu. I just did not have the time to make it with everything else I was trying to make. So then this next order was a pretty big order. It was 2 snakes, a capybara, and a gator. My snakes I sell for $15. The capybaras were at $15. The gator was at $12. Then here's where the cake lady comes in. So her husband comes first, and I've never really met her husband. She came back. He come over and he says, my wife says that she bought the Mickey and Minnie from you, and I said yes. And she says, you're gonna have the Donald and Daisy. I said, I will next time. So I found the pattern and I'm gonna make it. So he was looking. I didn't think he was gonna get anything at that moment. I thought he was gonna send his wife back to come and get whatever she wanted. But he looked at my horse Lovey. And I've had this was one of the first things I had made at the beginning of summer. It was my little Patelin, little no-so horse from AV Crafts a Lot. And I had it priced at $30, and he instantly bought it. And I was like, oh, okay. Then he come back. Then he gave his card to his wife, which is the actual cake lady. She comes back and she's like, okay, he's giving me time to come and get my stuff. So before they come, I said, okay. So she buys my long neck dino that I got from the Crochet by Jenna's book that I had made. She bought a squirrel. She bought my last squirrel. What else she buy? Oh, and then she got my duck lovey that I had made in Miss Simple Yarn. So all of that ended up being an $80 order. So just that family alone, they spent $110 in my booth. Wow. Okay, so then the next thing I got was a turtle for $15. Then this little boy, you could tell he had already been to one crochet booth. You could tell this mom had already been to one crochet booth, because she had a bag of stuff, and he didn't have much in it, but you could tell there was 2 little plushies. So, but she got him a steak for $15. Then the next one is a squid and a spider. And at the time, I didn't realize it was the husband of one of the vendors that said she was going to come back. So he got my spider and my squid. I didn't think they were going to buy anything. They stood there and they looked and they looked and they looked. And he finally decided to get them. Then the next thing I sold was a mystery bag for $22. And then I sold my last capybara for $15. Then he come back, and then that's when he's like, my wife said there was a cow, so well, I have 2. I said I have this one, and it's got the hand pan and safety eyes in it, or you've got my laying down cow. And he says, I think I want this one. And grabbed the laying cow that I had made from Loops and Knots Crochet. Sold it for $30. The next one was a big order. This grandma got the duck and a dino for $55. Then I sold another duck for $8, a mystery bag for $22, a chicken for $15, a mystery bag for $18, a mystery bag for $15. I sold Elsa for $35. I sold a spider for $12, an octo for $10. Then here comes this grandma in with 2 little girls, and the one little girl didn't know if she was going to like the mystery box or not. And so I peeked in there and I said, oh, well, I got some candy, you got 2 plushies, you got a little toy in there. So she opened it up, she liked it. Then the other little girl got my $15 turtle and the cat. Then I sold my last ghost I had, that was the big ones, for $15, which was great because those were ones I had from last year. Then I had a duck for $8, a cat for $8, 2 $15 mystery bags for $30, a chicken for $15, my last Gordon the Gator. This couple had come back 2 or 3 times, and he was like, how much is this gator? And I said $30, because he was trying to decide between it and my raccoon. And so he got Gordon the Gator. Then I got my other gator then I sold another gator for $12. Then here comes this old lady. Did not think she was going to come in and buy something. She just stood and she looked and she looked and she looked and she looked. And she finally picked up the raccoon and got it. Then I sold 2 mini cats for $16. Then I made like a little hammerhead shark for $10. It was just a pattern I had tried. I want to say it was a pattern from one of our Instagram friends. I don't know if it was free or not. Then they also got a gator. So that was a $22 order. Then whales was, I had two of my jumbo whales that I made from the All From Jade. That I've had them for a really long time. And they're one of the things that I can put at $10 because they don't take a whole lot of yarn. So out of one skein, I can get a whole lot of them. So this granddad come in, both little girls picked a whale for $10 each, and that was it. Then I sold a duck for $8. Then I sold a chicken for $15. And at this time, someone had asked if I was willing to sell one of my cats for $5 because they were buying something that was $15, and I said no. So, this gator was, then after that chicken was a gator for $12. Then I sold my last duck for $8. Sold a dino for $30. It was one of the ones I made in Sweet Snuggles Light. And this little girl had looked before with Mom on one day. Well, then she came back with Dad, and Dad asked her, "Is that what you want?" And so I got that. Then I sold an octo for $8. So the little girl who come back from her dad getting the cow, she come back and got an octo. Then she come back and got a panda. So I had made pandas and I only sold one. But I got a lot of compliments on the pandas. So for this market, I made over $1,400 at this market. It was just a little over $1,400. Wow. Just wow. I will be going back in December. I have several people who are saying, "Are you coming back in December? Will we see you?" Yes, you will. So I will have to have newer things. I have several things I need to remake. And I will catch y'all in the next video. It will be a market prep video. I do have another little market. It's a little 3-hour market at the school. So I'm doing a table with some other people. Do I think I'll sell a whole lot? Not really. But the table fees are only $25. So we shall see. But anyways, if you like this type of videos, if you want me to start branching out, I will. I'm just kind of getting used to it. Next year is a really big year for me. I got a crochet retreat. One of my friends is getting married. And it's just a lot. So, I will catch y'all in the next video. Don't forget to hit the button that looks like this. Don't forget to subscribe. And leave me a comment down below what was your favorite part of this video. And I'll catch you next time. Bye, guys.